You know what? Something that I like a lot is food, and I like conversations on food.
Of course.
And I'm going to be chatting with a member of the Food and Agriculture Organization, which is one of the UN organizations, United Nations organizations. And there's a celebration as well. So to chat with me about that this morning is Reuben Robertson, who is a FAO representative for Trinidad and Tobago and Suriname. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I want to say congratulations to the FAO because you have celebrated 75 years this year.
Thank you very much.
But before we go any further, tell us the role and function of the FAO.
Well, the Food and Agricultural Organization is a specialized agency of the United Nations that has prime responsibilities for ensuring food and nutrition security across the globe. So we work principally with governments and civil society organizations, other stakeholder institutions to ensure that this objective is met.
Let's speak about, you go on. You go on.
We do quite a number of things to ensure food and nutrition security, like addressing issues related to food safety, matters related to building resilience to climate change, natural resources management in terms of forestry and fisheries, all of which are encompassed in the whole gamut of things we do to ensure countries achieve food and nutrition security.
And let's speak about the importance of food security and sustainability, especially here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Well, you would know that Trinidad and Tobago, like many of the other countries in the Caribbean, is challenged. Challenged in the sense that there's a high dependence on food imports.
Right.
To ensure food security. And COVID-19, more than ever, has really outlined to us the vulnerability of the country with respect to being able to feed itself if they're in the event of a global disaster.
Right.
As we are seeing now with COVID-19 impacting on trade. So it is imperative that, that the countries, including Trinidad and Tobago, respond to ensure that they can feed themselves. And that is what food and nutrition security is really all about, removing that or reducing that level of vulnerability. So for example, right now we have about 70%, some statistics show 80% of food being imported to meet the national demands, all of which are imported as and categorized as food items or as food, are really not consumed directly, but go into other types of activities to manufacture food in some cases.
Right.
And so,
can you hear me? Reuben, are you there? All right, we do have a few technical difficulties. Can you hear me now, Reuben? All right. So hopefully we can get him on the line because I'm really enjoying this topic and to underline the importance of food security in Trinidad and Tobago, especially considering the statistics that we are so heavily dependent upon food importation and the necessary shift that may be needed, especially in this time of a pandemic where things are not as easy to acquire. So hopefully we can get Reuben back on the line. But we roll with the punches here as we are in this new time with this new normal. And technology is not always your friend. So let's see if he can get back in with us right now, and we can continue speaking about the effect. All right, Reuben, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Ah, fantastic. Well, it is with the technology. So as we were continuing the conversation, we are so heavily dependent not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but in the Caribbean on food imports. How can the FAO instruct the wider nation on how we can possibly shift to becoming more food secure with our local produce?
Well, the whole thing is about ensuring that there is the required policies to support the agricultural sector and its production processes. If I can probably just look at a few things that prevent us right now from advancing this whole notion of food security.
Right.
So, for example, in order to make decisions, adequate evidence-based decision, there's a lack of data. And this is not unique to Trinidad and Tobago alone. It's across the region. The information that will guide us and guide policy decision making is very sparse. Then we have a preponderance of small farmers. Just to give you an indication, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have about just over 22,000 farmers from the records that reflect this. And we have about 35% of those being farmers with 1 hectare or less. Then you speak about competitiveness, because these farmers operate as individual operators with very low levels of technology and innovation. So productivity at the farm level is low.
Right.
Then you have incidences of climate change impacts, where flooding and drought and even high temperatures impact on the already low productivity. So these challenges must be overcome if we are to address the issue of food and nutrition security adequately at the national level and also at the CARICOM level. Then we rely again on the external supply, countries outside of the region, where we have capacity inside of the region to be able to do intra-regional trade. And that in itself is something that we need to encourage more, where we can encourage countries to remove some of the non-tariff barriers that will facilitate free trade across countries within the region.
From where you sit, what can Trinidad and Tobago do right now to help move toward being food secure and helping to get to those sustainable development goals of the UN set for 2030?
Well, I must say that substantial efforts have already been made by the government of Trinidad and Tobago and continue to be made. Just give you one example. FAO has been working with the government to address a number of issues. Let's look at the fisheries. The government has worked with FAO to strengthen the fisheries legislation, which, as you heard, is over 100 years old.
Right.
That legislation will help to modernize the fisheries sector. Why? Because fisheries has great potential. Currently, food imports in terms of fish and fish products are over 18 million in value in terms of imports. And there is that capacity to produce locally. So what are we doing with government is to be able to build the capacity of small fishers in Tobago and here in Trinidad and Tobago. Build their capacity in terms of safety at sea, enhance the data collection systems and modernize the operations so that fishermen can become more efficient in their operations, assist with respect to the post-state measures agreement. That is, we have a high incidence of illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing in the economic zones of Trinidad and Tobago. Right. And so having the appropriate structures and legislation to be able to reduce this or to eradicate it will be of significant importance to Trinidad and Tobago being able to build its fisheries sector.
And Reuben, we'll have to continue this conversation and find out much more about the FAO and the initiatives that exist and the ones that will be pushed forward as well. But I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. And again, congratulations on the 75-year existence of the FAO with the UN and the observance of World Food Day. With me this morning, Reuben Robertson, who is an FAO representative, Trinidad and Tobago and Suriname. Thank you so much.